What's going on, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Let's dive right into the recent news. So first up, we have this screenshot. Feel free to save this for reference. We have, by Cointelegraph, 9 different XRP ETF filings with the SEC. We also had Grayscale file for an Avalanche ETF with the Nasdaq, so AVAX. So for XRP, we have Bitwise, Canary Capital, 21 shares, Wisdom Tree, Pro Shares, CoinShares, Grayscale, Volatility Shares, and Franklin Templeton. So we know Grayscale right there, this is an ETF conversion, and then for volatility shares, there are 3 different ETFs, some leveraged and some inverse, but the rest of these are absolutely spot XRP ETF filings. So based on these filing proposal dates, just keep in mind that it is absolutely possible to see XRP spot ETFs go live this year. If you're very conservative, look for Q1 2026. Now, in terms of recent developments with the tariff wars, where do I begin? We can see CNBC, Dow drops 2,200 points Friday, and S&P 500 loses 10% in 2 days. We have the full list of United States trade tariffs by country, so all reciprocal tariffs for anybody interested. This was shared by Cointelegraph, but I want to go through this tweet to kind of give you the bullet points. In full disclosure, I'm pretty much going to read this tweet verbatim because this all aligns with the whole thesis of M2 going up and crypto going up for another cycle. So we had President Trump announce reciprocal tariffs against countries like China, Vietnam, India, basically matching what they charge us. So this will make imports more expensive, and the whole goal of this is to boost American manufacturing. So we know the long-term goal, but what are the short-term effects? Because right now markets have reacted with a bunch of volatility, stocks, especially tech stocks, and crypto have seen sharp pullbacks. Now, the big concern with all of this, and to no surprise, is inflation. So tariffs usually mean higher prices for consumers, and I think we're going to be seeing that effect more and more, unfortunately. And based on this, the Fed might respond with stimulus or monetary easing, aka printing, to prevent economic slowdown, adding to our national debt, so increasing the debt and potentially weakening the dollar, debasing the currency. Big surprise. So we know all the geopolitical uncertainty, the tariffs, this does strengthen the long-term case for Bitcoin and crypto to be seen as a hedge, but if they are very correlated to tech stocks, which are seeing a pullback, what do we think happens? So we're seeing pullbacks now and maybe even more in the short term, but the long-term thesis is only getting stronger because this is the setup for M2 to rise. And I'm saying that right now because a lot of analysts are pointing out that there's a high degree of correlation with Bitcoin and other equities today. But as we can see, the argument for M2, this yellow line, the M2 money supply to keep increasing in the future is there, otherwise the entire system breaks. And historically, when M2 rises, so does Bitcoin and other risk-on assets. So sometimes Bitcoin can lead, other times M2 can lead, but we can see that M2 has been climbing. So just keep that in mind. It looks like we're in a setup for M2 to rise, and when liquidity flows, crypto explodes because there's this rotation into risk-on assets. As we can see here, when M2 starts rising, there was a lagging effect for Bitcoin. We did witness a March 2020, but then boom, a huge rise. So for long-term investors that pay attention to these liquidity cycles, we're in a very similar setup for the future for M2 to rise and crypto to follow behind. And that doesn't mean the bottom is in by any means for any assets, as Bitcoin dominance is still climbing, but that potential is there, so be ready for any type of volatility in the future. So we're going to find out where is our top going to be for Bitcoin dominance in the start of alt season. I know the big picture bores people, but these are some of the things I look at for price action of Bitcoin 18 months after each Bitcoin halving. So we topped before that, we topped right around 18 months there, we topped right around 18 months there for 69K. So 18 months after our halving, which was in April 2024, is right around October 20th, 2025. And when I share these charts, these are not predictions or saying this has to happen, these are considerations. And these are things I look at to keep my expectations in check and stay patient. Alright, next up, super quick for Monad. So it's been a few months since we've spoken about this project. I think this is a big contender to become the next SWE when it goes live on mainnet. So as soon as we get any updates about a mainnet launch, maybe I missed it, but I do know they have over 100 different apps that are live on their testnet today. We also got news of Ethereum's next major upgrade, the Petra upgrade, and I believe this is set to take place next month on May 7th. Looking at ETH dominance, we are in free fall. We broke below the trend line. I was hoping we were going to hold between 9 to 10%. We are at 8.2% today. What we can see though is looking at the monthly RSI, we are an oversold. I think it's safe to say eventually there's going to be a bottom and we see another V-shaped recovery. Now we covered this a little bit in the last video, but I want to highlight this shared by Jack McDonald. As promised, the Ripple US dollar is now integrated into Ripple payments. So now we really want to see the Ripple US dollar's utility begin to climb. We want to see its market cap climb, its liquidity climb, and its issued supply. Now we know the Ripple US dollar is fully MiCA compliant, check, in the European Union, but we could see some stablecoin legislation this year. So we have the Stable Act of 2025, the draft would establish a regulatory framework for stablecoins. And we also have the Genius Act right here, so guiding and establishing national innovation for US Stablecoins Act of 2025. So this legislation is looking to create a federal regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. So what do the Stable Act or the Genius Act or any other future legislation have to do with the Ripple US dollar, other stablecoins, and the crypto asset class? Everything. These bills would create federal clarity and a regulatory path for United States issued stablecoins like the Ripple US dollar. Both bills require stablecoins to be fully backed one-to-one, so requiring full reserves boosts trust. And all of the above opens the door to institutional use cases, so cross-border payments, tokenized assets is a big one, FX liquidity solutions. And it's so important to understand that stablecoin clarity, I know people don't care about stablecoins, but that is the first step in enabling large-scale tokenization. Like, think about it, this encourages competition with big banks and central bank digital currencies. And this allows non-bank issuers to participate. Now, they're still under really strict rules, but this prevents a monopoly by governments running digital dollars. So I definitely want private sector innovation from companies like Ripple in stablecoins and tokenized payment rails. So we have the total RWAs on chain today. Now, in a previous video, it might have been the last video as soon as I find this tweet, and notice back here, this was still showing 44 million for the total value, so that number actually did get updated. So as we scroll down, we have the Ripple US dollar no longer at 40 plus million, we're at 94 million. Alright, and we'll finish up with this clip today. So this is shared by The Angry Show. This is David with Charles Hoskinson.
If the government was building a blockchain solution, like let's say they chose Cardano as the thing to run all the elections, well then you're stockpiling ADA because you want to maintain the fuel to pay for your election system for the next 20 years or 30 years or 50 years. That's a different consideration than a speculative interest.
So I like that clip. It's important to understand the utility of these networks. As Glenn Hutchins used to say, there is value in the protocol. And this can apply to a variety of networks, the XRP ledger, you name it, as the native currency of the network used for fuel. So we just went through a boatload of information in hopefully less than 10 minutes by the time I trim this up. Check out iTrustCapital linked in the YouTube video description, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below. You can find all links to my crypto resources, including tools for charting, trading bots, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts right in my link tree in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.